Citizens of the Reject Nation, I am so happy you clicked on this video today because we're going to watch Andor Episode 7. John, how goes it?
It goes well, sir. How goes you?
The Force goes well within Greg today.
Force goes.
Thank you so much for being here. Leave a like. First order of business. Second order, first order, get it. Second order, thank you to all who have joined us on our Patreon page because your support means the world to catch our full interaction watch-alongs there. Third order of business. Thank you to Topps for sponsoring this video and introducing us to Star Wars Card Trader. So excited to be working with them because as you nerds know, we would love to collect. We all love to collect stuff. There's a lot of ways to collect the things you love. And the way Star Wars Card Trader works is it lets you collect your favorite Star Wars characters, weapons, spacecraft, more. John, this is when you should be showing your phone.
Dude,
phone.
Look, I got me a
store
stormtrooper.
them in your phone so you can admire and add to your collection from anywhere, anytime. And they have keep the phone up because this is a real cool thing.
I got bays.
They have a ton of exclusive collectible content to discover. Plus, you can meet and trade with other Star Wars fans across the galaxy, anywhere, anytime, to help complete sets and missions, earn awards, and more.
Plus, you can even take the cards you've already got and combine them, make new and even more rare collectibles on the workbench.
It's a great Star Wars positive community experiences, which is something we heavily encourage. So, guys, this app is free to play on iOS and Android. So join us now on Star Wars Card Trader by Topps.
Link in description.
Right back to staring out that window.
What makes you believe the Bureau of Standards is in the market for individuals?
It's a brown suit.
It's your interview.
Perhaps you would like to come along.
I know people don't like to hear this, but this looks very Star Trek.
Blasphemy.
What is it that you hear my caller saying?
Look at me. I don't believe in myself. I am desperate for approval.
I wonder from whom.
The use of any local custom festival as cover for rebel activity will trigger permanent revocation of imperial tolerance. I spoke with Emperor Palpatine last night.
Palpatine, name drop!
Any criminal act with even indirect effect on the Empire will henceforth be branded a Class 1 offense.
We're playing straight into their hands.
Whose hands?
The rebels.
They should listen to her.
What would you call it?
An announcement.
Yeah, she's right. She's right.
A surgical strike.
ISD confirms that tracking devices in the escape craft disabled prior to it reaching hyperspace. 134 outnumbered.
Mon Mothma splurges an awful lot of money on these artifacts.
That's all she does.
I told you I'm doing everything I can.
Your everything seemed to be all about bringing in a savior to access your family funds.
He keeps that smile up. I love it.
I warned you when we started.
You told me we were building a network.
What were my words?
This is something else entirely.
You knew where this was going. You've always known.
So good at that.
You realize what you set in motion.
It was time for that as well.
Palpatine won't hesitate now.
Exactly. The time has come to force their hand.
People will suffer.
That's the plan. You're not angry at me. I'm just saying out loud what you already know.
You're angry at yourself.
You spend so much time planning but not taking action. Gotta take that action.
People think we're kidding when we say it, but it's true. There are no small jobs at the Bureau of Standards.
Clearly.
Talk to any lifetime employee, you'll be surprised.
I'm sure.
Morlana 1.
Uh-oh.
There's a rebel murderer running free because of corruption and laxity in the corporate authority. I was punished for trying to uphold the law.
Can you validate me, please?
I fully intend to clear my name and have my record expunged.
Why don't we start that process now? Probably best for everyone to just edit this a bit before signing you in.
But I don't agree with the moral conscience of that.
Leave it all. Make it as difficult for me as possible. Love that you get so much of what actual life is like day to day.
Oh, she got back. Holy shit.
Good. Yes. That would be the most horrifying thing to see in person.
Surprised it took her that long to notice the ship.
I know. Big that thing is.
We have a loose end, Cassian Andor, who you know as Clem. You need to find him.
Find him?
And kill him.
We can't have him walking around with Luthen in his head.
Oh, God.
You mean kill him?
This is what revolution looks like, Val.
Dirty business.
We'll send you what we have on him.
Does Luthen order that? I feel like Luthen's going to want to retrieve his Kyber piece.
Yeah.
I hear you. Just hold on.
Shh, guys. Keep it down.
Get in.
Where have you been?
Look at you.
Oh, you missed him so much.
I want one.
Nearest to the troopers now.
Oh, buddy.
Kicked out Primor, took over the hotel. Ferrix is under Imperial authority.
So thank you, Cassie.
It's all come undone.
We won't have to worry about that. We're getting out of here. We're leaving.
Tonight.
Go where?
Anywhere we want. I got lucky.
Poor Andor.
When do we go?
We go tonight.
Tonight?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, no.
Get out of the cold and damp. Find somewhere warm and easy.
She's so gonna die.
Just give me a couple more minutes with her.
What's wrong?
Just such a lot to take in.
No one knows I'm here.
What are you not telling him?
No, I get so tired.
What are you not telling him?
I'll check up on Biggs, and we'll pull out first thing in the morning. All right?
But the first thing.
Don't leave her.
What happens to you? You always seem to be away when I'm there.
I'm not that hard to find, Mon, not for a senator.
You're right. I've been a poor friend.
No, that's not what I meant.
Someone's gonna kill me soon.
We're both a long way from where we started.
Have I changed so much?
We've all had to adapt.
Is it that bad?
Everyone's always passing some kind of judgment on her, huh?
Yep.
Can I call back our old kinship and share some truth with you?
Careful.
I want to tell you something only 3 people in the galaxy know about, and I'm hoping I can trust you.
Is this personal or political?
You haven't seen this guy in a while, man.
Political?
Then I'd suggest you hesitate.
Why?
There's a lot of fucking people around.
Yeah.
Your world is inescapably linked to the Empire. You're with these people all the time. I'm not sure you're aware how far afield some of us have taken our political allegiances these days.
You are just casting your vote for the best person to tell her secret to.
Keep smiling, as if we're having a happy chat about childhood days.
I'm not sure I understand.
No, you don't.
You gotta play along a little bit, man.
You are the most conspicuous person in the room.
Clear picture, isn't it? I'm a polite, sometimes indecisive senator who spends her days fighting and failing to protect separatist do-gooders.
Right with her husband.
Yeah.
The Mon Mothma people think they know. It's a lie. It's a projection. It's a front. Smile.
This guy.
I know they watch me. And I want that. Because as long as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing.
Oh, you badass.
Raising money.
Yeah.
Forming a Chandrilan charitable outreach program. I'll ask you to be chairman. It will involve visits here to Coruscant. I've explored the alternatives. You're my best shot.
You haven't answered my question.
And I won't. You're better off not knowing. Or perhaps you find my politics a bit strong for your taste.
Do it right here on the couch.
Your politics are so freaking hot.
May I steal her back? There's a few guests that require special handling.
Of course.
To be continued.
I don't know what that bitch was talking about.
What did I just agree to? What are my politics?
It's not safe here.
Tim?
I guess he thought you and I were back together.
Did have a love relationship.
What happened to you?
I ran into a wall like I do. Put the entire town at risk and now there's Imperials on the street.
If Tim had kept his mouth shut.
If this, if that.
We were doing a deal you
You
set up.
scam, you borrow, you lie, you disappear.
Your crazy boyfriend tries to get me killed, and I'm the villain.
You need to get as far away from here as you can.
This is not how he expected this to go.
You won't have to worry about me anymore.
She's worried about you now.
I need to know about the other guy. You ever talk to him again, tell him I held up my end of the deal. And he needs to forget about me.
That is the last thing they're doing.
And that goes for everybody.
Tell everyone you saw me tonight and what I said here today.
Be careful, Cass.
You too.
Come on, go with him.
She's grieving, man. Dude, you're gonna bump into some freaking Imperials.
Oh, and he's clean shaven again, sort of. That's not good.
This is not our fight, Cass.
Oh, wow. Didn't think we'd be going here.
Don't move. Stay here.
Calm down. You're only making things. Turn!
They gonna hit their targets today.
Ready, arm!
Those are clone troopers. Those are stormtroopers.
Mama Maarva, he's coming back.
I'm not going.
What are you talking about?
I'm staying.
But it's not safe.
I know all that.
Can't run from this.
What's left to keep you here?
The rebellion.
What?
Ferrix has been hiding long enough. For 13 years, every time I walk down Rick's Road, I turn off before I get to the square. I take the long way around, so I don't have to think about Clem hanging there.
Oh.
Oh, he took on the name Clem.
Attack at Aldani. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, the garrison at Aldani.
I heard that. I put on my best coat, and I walked across the square with a smile on my face.
Oh my God, you inspired me.
If there are heroes brave enough
Yeah,
to
a little
take on
smile.
a whole Imperial garrison, I'm brave enough to stick it out here. I don't expect you to understand.
Not at all.
The irony.
I've been lying around waiting to die long enough.
You can't beat them, Maarva.
Not if I run away.
This is heartbreaking.
Take all the money you found and go and find some peace.
I'll be worried about you all the time.
That's just love.
Aww.
Nothing you can do about that.
Travels across space and time.
Never loved anything the way I love you. And I've never fretted on anything more, but this time. You can't stay, and I can't go.
That's heartbreaking.
Can I speak now?
No!
Let him speak.
Tell me you understand.
I don't.
You will. You'll see.
Oh. Jesus. Damn, he took on the name Clem, and Clem took a stand.
You're gonna have to do a lot more living up to that name.
Good news, is it?
I'm afraid not. I wish to lodge a charge against a fellow supervisor.
Oh, man.
I believe our sector protocols, as described in the ISB Code of Conduct, risks compromising Imperial safety to a degree that silence is no longer possible.
This guy.
Supervisor Miro, do you mind having your integrity ventilated in public?
I used the Imperial Emergency Act in the wake of Aldani to gather data across multiple sectors without official sanction, but that is the wrong question. Do you really think the rebels care about the lines we draw on maps?
You think the relevance of my work has been supplanted?
Systems either change or die.
This guy's just reacting so much.
There is a focused, organized rebel effort to acquire highly restricted Imperial military components. I can now prove a link between the theft of our most secret equipment and its distribution to rebel groups across the galaxy.
It's weird that I root for her.
I know, right? Like, you go. Wait a minute.
I'm wondering where we'd be right now if everyone here showed the same endeavor as Supervisor Miro.
We need more of that around here.
Spunk, spunk, spunk.
You got Moxie, kid.
I'm reassigning the Morlana sector to Supervisor Mira. Ferrix is of great interest to her and has clearly become a distraction for you. Supervisor Grandy, you will accelerate your schedule. Young, I will expect your report on Old Mandel tomorrow.
Aren't you glad you addressed this?
Miami.
I need another pass on those visual effects there.
Oop.
Did I look cursed?
Get some clouds in here. Maybe make it darker.
Keith,
Dude.
Arky's up the beach. He'll be open.
I was planning to go the other way.
The second vaguely sexual situation in all of Star Wars. So many sense memories. There goes Aladdin.
Don't act suspicious.
Playing that game with the monsters.
You keep looking around.
Just trying to figure out what's going on.
You a part of it?
Part of what?
Don't play dumb.
Racist cops. Sure, trooper.
Why would I be running?
Because you're a part of it.
Part of what?
I'll ask the questions.
I can wait for you here if you want.
Rest ears.
What?
You heard me.
Wait, no.
Hey! K-Unit.
Tourists don't run.
But I'm not running.
You got that right. That window is shut.
Ooh, buddy.
Great reveal shot.
I'm just going through the story. It's right there.
You need to calm down, sir.
God damn this guy.
Hang on to this one for me. I want to check the shelter.
He said hang.
He meant watch.
Hang.
No, he means watch.
Wow.
Goddamn KX units taking everything so literally.
Hang.
Ooh.
Tell him you mean watch.
Charges.
Walking and unleashed massive animal fouling.
Wow, what a crock of shit.
Civil disruption, anti-imperial speech, fleeing the scene of anti-imperial activity.
When?
I'm just a tourist.
Oh, apologies all round then. 6 years.
Jesus.
Wait! I'm just a tourist! Wait!
Wow, what a crock.
That is definitely not a commentary on anything, guys. Nothing.
Can't think of anything in our lives today that would reflect that.
God damn it, Syrill, just do your job.
Yes. A funny note to end on.
Kick it off, John.
This was quite an interesting episode, after what came previously. Obviously, you have a big crescendo, and then we're going to have to do some resetting of the place and see where the aftermath falls. So, this might not be my favorite episode of the season thus far, but it's maintained a certain level of consistency even through this. Just seeing, I liked the increased sort of look now that we get at what's going on with Mon Mothma, and even to an extent her involvement with Luthen, and just everything kind of surrounding her position now getting a little bit more fleshed out, seeming like she's going to take more of a focal position in the story now moving forward, now that the rebellion is sparked off, and now that her position is going to become even more heavily scrutinized, and it's going to make for a lot of tension, I would imagine, moving forward for her, because of all those things she keeps describing as these annoyances to the Empire that she is funding as a means of distraction toward them. And I appreciated just that. As awkward as her friend is throughout that whole scene, I appreciated just the establishment of that idea and getting a better sense for her strategy overall, not just where her morality is. Getting her sort of more heavily featured, and then cutting back across. I think it's funny to focus on her and then also focus on what is her name, Miro, in the Imperial circle there. Sort of working her way up, and like you said, that weird sensation where you're like, you are rooting for her in her isolated story, but not so much, actually in the overall situation. So yeah, I thought it was an interesting blend of flavors. And then, you get a bit of the desperation in the aftermath on Cassian's side and waiting still to see when he takes up, some kind of real mantle of belief. But yeah, so far continuing in a conscientious way, I think.
What did you think of his arrest scene and how that all went down?
I mean, that was interesting, surely. I mean, definitely is ripped out of today's, it's a good example of the kind of hassle somebody gets when, somebody with power and authority, can kind of judge for themselves without any other sort of protocol really holding them back. And yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people watching that sequence would probably have some harsh memories or some harsh connotations because, it's a very real thing that happens to people. And the more it because he is so benign the entire time, it is completely maddening because we know what's going on with him. We know he is, a fugitive. And yet at the same time, in that moment, he really is doing nothing wrong. He's not doing anything very suspicious. He's trying to find out where those other people are going, but they're not even really, at least in the way it's portrayed to us, they're not even really close together. It doesn't really look like they're together. So yeah, it seems like a completely frivolous and messed up harassment by authority for him.
That is true. That's very true. Yeah, I thought that was
it the right answer?
No, I think you're right. I thought that it was interesting coming to that beach sequence. This felt very. Can't quite find the words for what it was that they did differently about this episode. It's a heavy debate episode, and there's a lot of fear-strickenness all over it, which I think is great. I like this episode a lot. I thought it was really, really solid. And the way they're building up Mon Mothma especially, like that, when she's, I forget that guy's name. Is it here on the menu right now? Do we see it?
Kolma, her friend?
Kolma?
Tay Kolma?
Tay Kolma. Yeah, there it is. With Tay Kolma, that scene that she had with him, it is interesting where at the beginning of this, she's confronting Luthen about the position that he took and the charge that he took, the initiative, and how distraught she is over it and fear of what might come. But Luthen's just there to remind her that you knew this was going to happen. And I'm just telling you what you already knew. And then in her own family setting, her own inner circle, immediate setting, worse than whatever like her and Luthen were doing. Like she is conducting this conversation literally inside and just a few feet away. Everyone she's going to have to she's putting up this guise towards. And she can't tell this Tay Kolma guy the truth. And she is taking on the position of like Luthen a lot in that particular scene. Mm-hmm. And even with her saying like, I can't trust my husband. Like she stays in the marriage as part of the facade. As part of the cover in a way. I don't know what divorce is like in Star Wars world. I don't know. I've never seen a character go through a legal battle yet. But it sounds like I love, this is my favorite episode of hers by far. Like I think what they explored with Mon Mothma here, getting a little bit dirty as well. It was great. Not getting dirty, but having to play the undercover game in a realm where it's not about talking with Luthen, who's orchestrating a lot. Like she's having to try to maneuver a conversation here in her favor to get some credits, to get some money. And I just thought was like a fascinating game of tension and espionage at the same time because she's around. Like to me, Mon Mothma was like my biggest takeaway out of this episode. I thought she was excellent. And yeah, that ending scene too. I mean, more than just like the social commentary that it was doing. For a Star Wars fun Easter egg, you do get the KX unit, and reminding us, of course, right away of K2SO. And like, I don't know if that's going to be the droid that that specific one that Cassian will somehow convert and reprogram to become K2SO. I don't think so. I don't really know what the lore lineage is on that. I imagine we will see that happen at some point in this show.
See him grow into Alan Tudyk.
But I think that was a great tease, too, of part of the journey of what's to come, because a big part of, a lot of people's favorite character out of Rogue One is K2SO. And of course, that bond and camaraderie between the two of them. And so it's already teasing that element of how far he's come in that regard, and to tease the future of their relationship eventually forming, regardless of whether or not it's that droid. It's that immediate association he has with that type of droid, I think is a great, great nuanced touch to have. And again, in like putting it in a particularly beautiful setting and having that cyberpunk, just going through the street, going about your time, and then to be picked up by the shore troopers like that there's something very unsettling about that. And of course, leaning more weight into, hey, this is like, no matter what I do, I'm always an enemy. So my best bet, it makes sense more like he just constantly had this reaffirmed belief, Cassian Andor, that no matter what, his best bet is just staying hidden, staying away, fleeing, escaping, no matter what. There's no point in fighting. And that's just another memory that we're going to explore that adds to that. And then, of course, everything on the I'm blanking on every name right now. Forgive me, guys. I've been up a long time. What's the planet called? Not Felix. Ferrix.
It's a dank place.
And then with that's a good way to remember it. And then seeing the memory of Ferrix, and that was such a poignant moment to note that the person who really seemed to make a name for themselves and establish sort of a reputation was this Clem individual who took a stand against the clone troopers, who took a stand against the Imperial Army when they were there. And for him to adopt that name when he's going undercover, to me, I'm like, it has to be a specific character choice of a guy who's so resistant towards the resistance, a guy who's resistant towards the rebellion, yet he adopts of joining the rebellion, yet he adopts the name of Clem. And
in the credits, he's credited as Clem Andor. So I'm wondering.
Oh, really?
If that, it's right there, Gary Beadle as Clem Andor. So I'm wondering how much more important to him that character is beyond that honoring of taking on the moniker of Clem. Like, did he name himself for this guy, or did he help Maarva raise him essentially to some degree?
Either way, it just adds more weight to the fact that he chose that name, and more weight to, here's what happens when you take a stand. You end up dead. So I think there's a lot of great representations of. So I just vehemently disagree with Cassian not being an interesting character. It bugs me because I feel like this show actually does an exquisite job, and I like an episode like this, where you get like the memory flashbacks and what you uncover there, I think just adds so much to why this character is the way he is. And he just happens to be surrounded by a wonderful supporting cast as well, who is also very, very interesting. Like everything with Maarva was so emotional and beautiful. And I love the irony behind him doing this mission on Aldhani. Yes, right? Aldhani, Ferrix. Where's he from again?
It's almost there. It almost sounds like a bird. Canary.
Canary.
Sounds like a bird, yeah.
And okay, just make sure I got it right. So yeah, you have that scene with her was so beautiful and heart-wrenching. And the irony that he does this mission on Aldhani, he wants to use the money to get his mother, he calls her Ma. It's a play, imagine. Ma and Maarva. Yeah. And to get her and him out of there, and they could live a better life. And ironically, is the final push to get her to be like, no, this planet has stayed dormant for too long in terms of fighting against the Empire. Now's the time. This Aldhani thing was a message sent. It's just like the irony behind his actions and him he can't tell her. And yet it leads to this real complicated conflict with saying bye, or should he stay? Like, what should he do? And then that gray area, that conversation with Bix, I like good scene work like that, where he shows up and he's obviously looking forward to seeing her. He wants to check up on her. He's all smiles and kind of charming. This, in spite of the fact he knows what Tim did, he's still there for. He's looking forward to her, but then she just immediately rejects him and pushes him away. and blames him for what's happening right now because she's grieving through this whole situation. She's not entirely wrong about,
Not at all.
And I think that's the way they complicate things with the relationship dynamics, and it makes it just feel that much more personal. And I think this is such an intimate, personal show that they can do a character like the lady blonde girl with the Empire.
Deidre Miro.
Yeah,
I think her name is.
Have a character like her, and you're like, I don't know why, but I'm kind of rooting for you, even though
Her
I know
and Syrill in two completely different ways, but both of them, two of your antagonist inclined characters you want to see succeed somehow, even though it hurts the bottom line of the show.
It's because I think they're underdogs in the position that they're in.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
they both feel like they have to prove something. They're always having to prove something, no matter what.
And they're always being hassled by either incompetence or people who are just looking way far down their noses at them.
People who just brush them off as they have almost to the point where they have delusions of grandeur when they don't. Mm-hmm. And I think knowing that is just aids so much to that. So yeah, I think that what they did with this particular episode was still very strong, and a very strong character-driven episode, while moving the plot in a way that is scary. Like when you're checking in on the ISB and hearing the conversations of everything they're going to be enacting and what they're going to get access to, it's like we know where this is going. Like it's Star Wars. This is this is all before Rogue
Headed to
One,
the
before
war.
Episode 4. Like we know where we're headed here, and we know that the rebels are going to be bigger, and there's going to be more of them, and then we'll eventually defeat. Like we know where it's supposed to head to, and that I think that kind of aids in knowing the suspense of it all. Except you're just watching the details play out. It feels akin to the sense of if you've heard of World War II, and I mean, World War II, you know of it, you know that whole, the history of, Nazis in the world. But then you find out, watching the story of the details of how it got to that point.
Yeah.
Of how it got to the big war. And that's what you feel like you're watching right now.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that's part of how you keep that interesting and you alleviate we'd already know what's going to happen is you zero in on the personal stories and the human details that get wiped out in a broader history or something like that, and you really invest in that, and I think they're really good at doing that. And showing everything from the ground level, showing there's always a sense of, even though the show stays relatively plot oriented, there's always a sense for what life is like and how it is to live here and what people are up against while the Empire is enforcing all their various rules and decrees, and it feels oddly like one of the more broad, even though we haven't been to a myriad of places yet, it feels like one of the more broad depictions within Star Wars of so many cultures and so many moving parts as part of this whole big thing. And I love that part of the argument, part of the discussion this episode, and what you see people on different emotional sides of is the fact that, this is going to be ugly, and we are all going to have to compromise what our morals say and what we are comfortable with if we are actually going to get our hands dirty and, really step up and make this happen and not crumble. And everybody is sort of aware that this could crumble at any moment, but while we have this flint spark and this momentum, we have to do something with that. And I think it adds to the compelling nature of Cassian's character. It's like, we know eventually he's going to become dedicated to this, but watching as all of his plans sort of go awry in ways that seem to all lead back to, no, there's no escaping this purpose, and you can't outrun, there's nowhere comfortable in the galaxy that you're going to be able to run to where you won't be either so eaten up by the grief of leaving the people you love in this shitstorm, or just the general shirking of, that moral responsibility that eats at you. And I feel like you are absolutely right. It's like in taking on that name, Clem, and all that, it does probably speak to something deep within that wants to, rebel, wants to, see some new kind of order and goodness ushered in, but it's probably beaten down by several other prior experiences, especially like what we saw in the flashbacks. So I feel like they've drawn a very believable and relatable iteration of this guy where it's like, right now I can see how and why he is wayward as he is, but I can also see the seeds having been planted for him to actually finally stand up. And especially with this whole thing on the beach is a great, example of that. It's like he's not even doing anything. They don't even recognize him, and yet this is still an effect. And if it's, if he just got sentenced to 6 years in prison for loitering on a beach just now, things are only going to get much, much, much more, dire and grim.
Well, guys, yeah, I thought this was a great episode. I got to get to editing this reaction right now. But thank you so much for being here. And I feel like this is such an underappreciated show, but I'm glad for those who watch it, they really appreciate it, like us, like you guys. So just happy to be here. Thank you, guys. Leave a like. Thank you to Tops for sponsoring. And last but not least, on this with a
Kevin Smart. Took some inspiration from Gregorio over here, and I Googled your name. I Googled Star Wars Kevin, and you know what came up? Kevin was an Ewok who stowed away on the starship Trustworthy after it was sabotaged by Kreven, the droid partner of the pilot Reen. Dude, you are the you are so wonderful and kind just for being here, but now I'm going to imagine you as like a cuddly figure. And investigating the starship, Kevin inadvertently finds a comlink that reveals Kreven intentionally sabotaged the Trustworthy. See, you yourself are an uncoverer of truths. You could spark the crucial moments of a rebellion just yourself. No, never underestimate your role in the galaxy. Even a little tiny Ewok cuddly cuddle bear guy can be a hero, and that's you. So stay smart, hold fast, and we'll catch you next month. Thank you for being here with us, and hope you're enjoying. I hope you, if you watch this series, I hope you are enjoying it. Either way, I hope you're enjoying your life. Much love.